Well, hey crafty friends, it's Hiedi Scott with DiyDreaming, and on this quick video I thought what I would do is show you a bunch of sewing themed projects that we've made here on DiyDreaming over the last 6 years or so that are super simple, super affordable, and you probably already have 99 or 100% of what you need to make something like this in your style, in your colors, for yourself or for gifts. So let's start with this and this. I made these two items probably 4-ish years ago. This is called a needle book. It's super simple. This is like 3 pieces of felt that are glued together. I'm going to show you how it works. And basically what my motivation for making this was that I could never find a sewing needle. I don't know, do you struggle with that? And I have hundreds of them. I still probably have hundreds of them floating around in different places. In my sewing kit, in the sewing machine, here in my craft room, who knows where else, in the junk drawer. So I decided to make a sewing needle book, and that's what this is. Okay, it's one large piece of felt. I should have gotten my ruler out. Let me grab that so I can tell you. It is about 8 inches wide, and it is about 6 inches in height. Okay, so it's one piece. And then inside of that are 2 more pieces of felt that I just glued in the center that are slightly smaller. Of course, I dressed it up with some lace and some buttons, and I did put a little pocket here in the back for these plastic sewing needles that I love. They're great. And then you basically just put your sewing needles. You can organize them, fabulous if you want. I added a few little buttons to the pages. This was good quality felt, so it wasn't the 14-cent felt that you can get at Walmart. I think it came from Hobby Lobby, and it was probably, I don't know, 50 cents a piece or maybe a little bit more. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. When I made this, I also was dealing with an issue of never being able to find my crochet hooks. And I was in a big crocheting phase, which I'm longing to get back into. And so I gathered my crochet hooks and I made a little pouch for them, which is just 2 pieces of felt with some lace that I put in between the sandwich of the 2 pieces. The back piece is longer, so it will have a little flap. It is about 9 inches. The front piece is about 7, and it's about not quite 3 inches wide. These dimensions are just what I happen to make. They are not set in stone. You could put a snap on there if you wanted, or a tie. I just kept mine super simple. So I absolutely love these. Not too long after, or possibly before that, I was also dealing with not being able to find any pins. And so I made this super simple little glass jar, and then I made this. This is a very small embroidery hoop that has some of that cork that has adhesive on it from Dollar Tree on the back. And then it has just a little piece of, this is painter's drop cloth that's been stenciled with some polyfill in the inside. Super simple, super, super, super simple. Okay, so then I don't know what came next, but let me show you these. These are some eyeglass pouches that I made out of felt too. Okay, So then I think next up I made these because I wanted something pretty, and I had seen probably on Pinterest this idea of making a pincushion out of a vintage silver, either sugar or creamer dish. Okay, so I went crazy with this, and then I didn't give any of these away because I loved them too much. I think they're too pretty. So I made this one, and they're tarnished silver. They came from the thrift store. I made this one, which I painted the body of this little creamer dish plaster, and added a bunch of lace and doilies and buttons and doodads. And then this one, I don't even keep here in my craft room. It's in my china closet because this was a sugar dish that was part of a set that belonged to my mother. So what I want to tell you is that nothing is actually attached to this this sugar dish. It's just kind of poked in there. So if you're worrying, well, I don't want to, you know, glue anything to my silver, you don't have to. So isn't that pretty? I'll put that back in my china closet. Okay, and then I can't remember what came next, but I was looking for something to carry scissors in, to store them in. And I saw on Pinterest or Facebook or something how people were making scissor pouches out of Dollar Tree pot holders that they were folding, basically like I folded this, which didn't really appeal to me. They looked, you know, not really like my style, but I thought I can make something easy. This is canvas duck. There's a little bit of polyfill, one layer of polyfill sandwiched in here, and then it's just folded, fringed. It has lace on it, and this has a front pocket and a back pocket. So I made these. They turned out so pretty I could not part with one of these either, so I kept both. And then I decided to revisit the whole needle book idea in this look of cream, you know, this kind of look. So I made this. I made several of these, and I did give the other ones away. This is Painter's Drop Cloth. It's made very similar, although it's a little more fussy because it's got more doodads and ribbon and stuff on it. It's very similar to this one. And I am showing you all of this right now because I hope it will inspire you. Most likely you have some fabric of some type in your home if you're a crafter. You have hot glue. I did not sew anything. You probably have some lace or trim of some sort. You might have some bling or buttons. You probably have nearly everything. You may have felt, you may have everything that you need roughly to make some of these projects. Okay, so this is the same idea as the first one. It's one large piece of Painter's Drop Cloth, and I did line it because it was so soft, and then I did some pretty lace that I just glued around it. And then inside are two pieces. This is quilt batting, not felt. It works. And it's slightly smaller. I don't have a lot of needles in here because I'm still operating mostly out of this one. Anyways, I glued a doily, can you see that, to the front. I glued some lace, and then I put a couple little pieces of lace to tie it closed. And then I added a pretty piece of bling, a cameo from Totally Dazzled. So let me know, you can say dazzled in the comments if you want a link to look at all the beautiful pieces that they have. They have lots of different things. Maybe you have an old clip earring, or you have some old pins, or you have some buttons that are pretty that you could add. And then this is basically just a bunch of either vintage or Dollar Tree lace. So this is a good little needle book, and these are all totally my style because they're cream. But you can do this in absolutely whatever colors, styles, whatever appeals to you, and just use the idea. Okay, and then this is not really a sewing item, but it certainly could be if you wanted to put spools of thread or a measuring tape, thimbles, seam rippers, whatever kind of little doodads that you might have. This is one of those books that I just covered in canvas, duck and doilies and lace. I did the inside too. And I have in here a bunch of the jewelry pieces and stuff that I've made. Look at this, isn't this cool? This is a bracelet. These are old zippers. Anyway, so I just have a bunch of jewelry that I've made in mine, but you could use this like as a little sewing box if you want it. So what do you guys think? I have an idea for something I want to redo. I want to remake an embroidery hoop pouch, and I want it to be this flavor, cream, with doilies and lace. So I may do that at some future point. But anyways, that is what I wanted to show you, and I hope that this has been an inspiring video for you to watch to get lots of ideas about different things that you can do easily, no sewing. These are all super affordable ideas, and most likely you already have everything that you would even need for it. So do a this or this if you liked this little quick summary video, if it inspired you, if it gave you some ideas. Feel free to sprinkle it if you have friends that love sewing or love crafting or that struggle with organization like me, that can never find their sewing needles or their pins or scissors or whatever it might be. Feel free to sprinkle this. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. If you want to see these full-length video tutorials, I will put some of them here on DiyDreaming, but you can see all of them on my YouTube page easily. And my YouTube page is organized by topics, so it's easy to go to exactly what you want. I believe all of these are under a playlist of sewing projects or something like that. So comment YouTube, YOUTUBE here if you would like, and I will send you, I'll message you a link to my YouTube channel so you can hop over there. I have hundreds of videos of craft projects, so if you want to look at something from Christmas, you want to look at door hangers, you want to look at candle ideas, aprons, pillows, tote bags, whatever it is that you might specifically be interested in, it's an easy way to find those videos. Anyways, all right, have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys later. Bye.